What's up? What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome, Rock Bottom Podcast with Ray DeVito. I'm Ray DeVito. I'm ready, but we got a hell of a show for you today. Gonna be good times. Gonna be good times. First, I want to give a shout out, Chris Tidwell, new member. Thank you, buddy. The Notorious TID, Ricky Bev. What's up? A new member. Thank you, Ricky. And then Tater Todd, with the adorable puppy, a new member. All right, want to give a quick shout out to my sponsors. You got SilkCityHotSauce.com. Fred Harper's beautiful artwork. You could Dead Red Fred Harper on Instagram doing the artwork. Pain in the Brain. Go to SilkCityHotSauce.com. Put in Rock B. Save 15% on everything. And also, you got T-shirts of the artwork too, and the Rock Bottom on Shuli Network. You can get all kinds. You got the pink blankets, T-shirts. You got some other Ray TA. You know those shirts are up there. Rock Bottom Podcast shirts, as well as this one, as well as that, and then also AirieJane.com, AerieJane.com, Airie Jane goat milk soaps and deodorant. Put in Raymond or Rock B, save 15% and free shipping on your first delivery. And we get it. All right. Let's Rick, I love you. I love you too, Rick. Thank you, buddy. Oh, someone like, yeah, it's been rough in these podcast wars. I call it truce. I'm trying to be a nice guy. Speaking of on a serious note, gotta give some love, man. I got some news. Someone that we all love. We all know this guy. We all love him. Mr. Carlos Danger was involved in he was in a car accident yesterday. I know this because I am his emergency contact. There he is, that lovely man. He was in a car accident yesterday. I do not know the details. He is still with us. I took the red eye to Connecticut last night to go see him. Then I took the red eye back this morning to be here. He's going to pull through. He's going to be all right. Mr. Carlos Danger, send our thoughts and well wishes to Carlos Danger and the Danger family. He's going to be all right. Actually, it was a fender bender. He's going to be all right. He's no hospitalization was required. He's going to be all right. We're all pulling through. Remember him in these difficult times with whatever you're doing. Just think of Carlos. Just think of Carlos and these. Yes, he is okay. Rick. Yes, people are. Yes, I like. Yes, everyone's like, why can't Ray been in the car? I've been in my share of car accidents. And much like my sisters, when my sister showed up to Pennsylvania after I was in a car accident, and I woke up in the ER with my sister standing next to my bedside, I said the same words to Carlos Danger, where I said, "Why the hell am I your emergency contact?" That's. Those are the same words that were said to me. I said to Carlos yesterday, but no, he's fine. I was just dramatizing it up. He's going to be okay, everybody. But yeah, think of Carlos in these times. Some call me the Carlos Whisperer. It's another alias I have. Some would say that Carlos is a Ray Whisperer. I think it's the other way around. I'm the Carlos. I got to bring him in. And I got to keep him in line and make sure he's all right. But he's doing all right. All right, I'm going to get into it. We got a big show today. We got two guests today. I got Hannah Rajlan, very funny comedian, originally from Indianapolis, now in Chicago and New York City. And then later, he's at the dentist office right now. But I got my good buddy Derek Richards, very funny comic. He's going to be joining us later. But let's bring in Hannah. Hannah, come on in here. How are you, my dear?
Hi. Hey, Ray.
How you doing? I get your last name right. Rajlan?
Rushline. Don't be in a rush. Snort a line.
Don't be in a rush. Snort the line. I hear it. Where are you at? Are you in Chicago or Indy?
I am actually at my parents' house on the farm in Indiana where I grew up.
What's that like to have parents? That must be nice. My parents died when years ago.
How long, if you don't mind me asking?
My mom died. She was 56. So It's been what, 18 years and like 15 years, something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, they both died young. So that's just jealous when I hear people have parents. It's like, what's that like? Do they like you?
Yeah, they do. But as you were sitting there and talking about yours, being cinnamon toast crunch, I felt a little pang of jealousy on the flip side where I was just like, thinking about the fact that I have this album coming out and how upsetting it's going to be for said parents of mine. And, when you were just like, yeah, I don't even have any parents, I was like, oh, LOL, that would really make that a moot point. But, we're all here, and I'm thankful that overall mine are alive, Ray. I will say that,
Well,
Ray.
that's good thing. Would you, if you don't mind, could you turn your camera the other way? Like,
For sure.
or is that cool? Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, there we go.
Easy
Now we're
breezy.
looking good. And then Andy, if you don't mind, you can move her and me because my camera's off to the side. So this way it looks like I'm actually looking at Hannah. There we go. Perfect.
That's better.
Perfect. So tell us about the album, man. Where'd you record yours?
At home in Indianapolis. It feels like an eternity ago. I recorded it not last March, but the March before it. So it's like approaching like a year and a half since I got it. But unbeknownst to some, but some might know because they, your listeners are, in the comedic realm. But there's been some lawsuits going on between, comedians, intellectual property, and then,
I went through the same thing. That's why
Oh,
mine
okay,
took
cool.
forever to come out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So like I figured you knew, and I wasn't trying to all of a sudden
Yeah.
get into some like inside baseball that I'm not even
Yeah.
really good about talking about yet.
I'll
I just know
explain to
more.
I'll explain to the audience what it used to be with Sirius XM Radio is anyone like I know the head of comedy at Sirius XM, and it used to be I could just send him my album and they listen to it, listen to the quality of it, and they're like, okay, great. And then they send you a spreadsheet and they're like, cut it up and we're gonna play it. It'll be in rotation. That's how it was. Then I don't know if it was 800-pound gorilla or if it was Helium Records, but one of them they got into a thing because like in it kind of makes sense because it was at a point where anyone could just send whatever to Sirius XM, and if it sounded good, they didn't like check like is it someone just repeating Richard Jenny jokes from 20 years ago,
Okay.
whatever. It sounded good, so they'd play it. So now you got to go through a record label. So the days of you submitting it on your own are gone. Like it's gone, which hurts because now we don't get the royalties that we used to get.
Well, and I was just gonna say, in the 7 years or so that I've been doing comedy, I just, you encounter everyone, that you come across. And I've even had some buddies, specifically a comic that I know out of Cleveland, Ramon Rivas,
Yeah.
who had like great success, or some
Right.
success at least in the past years that he's been doing it, self-submitting
That's what you
several
because you could do
of
it.
his
Yeah.
albums. And I
You're
mean,
able to
I
do it.
learned how to do some of that from him, kind of putting up, hey, comics, this is something that you can do if you're not signed. And, I'm on 800-pound gorilla. So it's like funny that, that it
Okay.
directly affected my album. Like I put it out, or I recorded it, like I said, in March of like, almost like not 2 years ago, but it's approaching that. And so like but all that stuff started kabrewing. And then I was, next thing you know, I was like, hey, I didn't know this album was going to it kind of came up out of nowhere anyway. So I was fine to sit and chill. But then it's now led us all the way here. And the lawsuit, as you're aware, is still going on. So, I finally had to talk to my A&R guy, and I'm like, I'm sick of all those jokes. I'm telling them each one of the jokes I'm telling 100 times better just because it's a year and a half later. So for me, it's tortuous to even listen to this again. Can we put this out? Like, I just so it's no harm, no foul. Like nothing was like a bad experience. It was more just the reality of the situation. And it was stuff where I was like, I didn't know any of this was coming. And I'm like, oh my God, it all sounds like mumbo jumbo to me.
Who's your record label? Is this also 800-pound gorilla?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's okay. So didn't they record? Like, here's a good thing now. I didn't know this at the time when I recorded my album, and I don't know if this is the same thing you had, but I did not know at the time that they changed the landscape. But the way it is now, like if I was to do it again, the record label will set up the recording for you now. Like they'll do it and they'll do it. So did you record it yourself, or did
No,
they?
no. So they sent Mike Merrifield, the comic, down, and
Oh yeah, I know Mike
he
Merrifield.
recorded the audio and the visuals, because even though I didn't shoot it as a special, the whole first hour, the early show, they have also the full video for, and then they've just like, I'll have access to it, and then they're using like all kinds of splices for assets,
Right,
but
right.
yeah, they sent the full crew. I mean, I was honestly,
Is the full show online yet, or no? Because they usually put the whole show online.
no, none of that yet. So
No, okay.
they just emailed me yesterday with hey, we're gonna release this on Halloween.
Oh, okay. So it's more waiting.
Yeah, more
It's
waiting.
still more waiting. You're like,
But honestly, Ray, I'm perfectly fine with that. The only other date that my like heart of hearts wanted to release on was September 11th, and I knew that that was going to make everyone feel. So the point is, one way or the other, I did not get what I wanted. No one asked me at the label because they don't have to, and I'm nothing. And then what it's led to is them choosing for me Halloween, but I'm actually lightly thrilled because one, it's already been for fucking ever, so it's fine.
right.
But two, it's also okay because like I turned 40 on the 18th of October, and I was planning on I'm getting my first passport and like thinking about leaving the country. So if they drop it, then I'll just stay for Halloween, have an at-home release party,
Yeah.
and then literally turn off my phone and leave. Because like I know that
And enjoy it.
they'll be putting out promo galore or whatever they need to do. I can also have scheduled posts or pay somebody for a week to just do the things that need to be done to move things around, and I can kind of just go quiet.
Do they got it like locked? Do they got it locked off where it's going to be featured on Sirius XM that whole week and everything?
I have no idea.
No, you have no idea. Okay, that's like kind
of. But I know that in the email yesterday from my
because mine had to wait. Like I went with Aaron Berg's label, Uncancelable Records, but like mine had to wait where they had a weekend available to play mine, and so they played it in its entirety 6 times throughout the weekend. So, but they were looking for that weekend to release it, so then that way they got something to a reason to release it. But that's why I had to wait for them to find a weekend. So I didn't know if that was
for sure. Well, I'm not 100% on that answer, but I know that in the email that, like I said, my guy sent me yesterday, it was basically saying like, look alive and be aware. We'll be sending you anything that you need to go back and forth with your marketing team between now and then. So I knew that was just like, hey, let all your dum-dums know that you're going to have a spooky little album delivery. But yeah, I'm stoked. I think it's just like nothing could be funnier than me too, than, just Halloween. It's like LOL, major holiday. So of course.
Nah, you can be fine. You're going to be fine. It'll be, and you in that bedroom, is that your bedroom at your parents' house, or is that like one of your parents? You have that many clothes at your parents'?
No. So this is there's a few bedrooms here in this house, and they all have clothes in them. But there's 3 of us kids. They now have their first grandkid. Every one of us kind of goes in and out of the farm, in just different times. So it's like there's just extra, the bedrooms that are no longer occupied. So it's like all that stuff behind me is actually my sister's. But I will say I do have probably 3 small stacks of clothes here, multiple types of shoes, things, because I come home once a month. So it's like,
I would too if I had parents. I would be crashing my parents' house right now if I had parents. I'd be right there.
I know.
That's exactly what I do. I take my bobbleheads over there, and I'd be sitting right there.
Right. I cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. In the next room, speaking of bobbleheads, my dad raised us like big sports fans, like Pacers.
And you're a Pacers fan. Yeah. You've done commercials for the Indiana Pacers.
Correct. But I also have a stadium seat from Old Yankee Stadium, and it's here at the farm in the other room because Dad's just been storing it for me because I started being everywhere.
Yeah, why are you a Yankees fan? That made no sense to me.
Well, Dad just know Indiana baseball team pro, and he grew up in the Mantle era, so he just raised us that way. I mean, I went to the opening day of the new Yankee Stadium.
That's like that old Stanhope joke. The old Stanhope joke, like rooting for the Yankees, like going to a casino rooting for the dealer. It's like,
yeah, well,
you're supposed to win. They're
As a
supposed
person
to
who thinks
win.
about killing myself daily, I think I can take some small victories. I've just taken my 27 world titles and wrapped them tightly around myself like a funeral shroud. And I
Jesus.
know you're a Cleveland Guardians
Dude,
fan or
and it sucks because we were
whatever
in
that
first
gay
place.
name is. Your
Yeah.
franchise doesn't even have its real name anymore, so I can't really
They
listen
never
to
had.
talk
They were the
about
Cleveland Naps. Then they were the Cleveland Spiders. Then they were, yeah. Indians was like later, anyways. They should have went back to the Cleveland Spiders, the original name. But also to show you how fucking disgusting baseball. And we were in first place on August 1st. Imagine if the Yankees were in first place on August 1st, and we went into sell mode. Sell mode. We traded our best pitcher. We traded our starting shortstop, Ahmed Rosario. Like we went in sell mode. I get it. We were like 500, but still, that's still good enough for first place. And you go into
I
sell mode.
know.
Get the hell out of here.
That's honestly wild to me.
And this is a team that almost beat the Yankees last year in the playoffs. Like, are you and they're in sell mode. Get the hell out of here. It's disgusting, dude. It's so disgusting. Another thing I want to talk to you about, you're 5 years sober. I want to get into that. I'm going to bring in our next guest, too. Derek Richards is here. What's up, buddy?
What's happening, pal? How are you?
Good, buddy. How you doing? This is Hannah. Hannah, this is Derek.
Hey,
Hi,
Hannah. How are
Derek.
you? Nice to meet you.
Same.
Both very funny comics. Hannah from Indianapolis. Derek is from Detroit, Michigan.
Yes, sir. Out here in Las Vegas now.
Yeah, man. Derek Richards, I heard you the other day on the BS show.
Yes.
And you said that you always enjoy working with me, which is nice to hear.
It's true.
And then, yeah, I always have a great time working with you. But he goes, yeah, Ray is neurotic. What is this? What is this? How am I neurotic?
Oh, please. You're really gonna ask that question? I
Yeah.
just thought it was hilarious. I just thought, listen, I thought your neuroticism was just hysterical.
The charm?
It would be, yes, we'll call it charm, if that makes you feel good.
Yeah. What's
charm?
How would you say I'm neurotic? What am I like? Yeah. Any backstories on that?
It's just when you during shows, or when you'd come off stage, or just even before you'd go on, because we had done a number of one-nighters and actual club dates too. But you'd be hanging back there, and I don't even know if you remember this, but I mean, you see the crowd, and you're like, oh, this is going to be a problem. Oh man,
I say that every crowd, even when they're there to see me,
and I would just sit back there and laugh because it was just so funny. And you'd come off stage and you're like, that joke didn't work, and I'd bust your balls and go, your whole act didn't work.
What? That's true. Touche.
I was just ball busting. So no, I thought your neurotic. I think your neurotic behavior cracks me up.
I'm all right. I'm sober. What? Alcohol free since Monday. So what is this? Thursday? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I'm only doing it because I'm getting people send me baseball cards. A Mike Piazza rookie card. It's a inside joke in the MLC world. Lenny Dykstra did MLC, and he kept referring to how gay Mike Piazza was. So anytime he said anyone's gay, he called him a Piazza. So like that's the new term for LGBT. As there's nothing wrong with that. It's a Hall of Fame catcher. That's not an insult. That's not a slur.
It's LGBTPIAZZA. There you
go.
Yeah. You just added some more letters to it, and you actually threw in a couple of vowels.
Yeah. But the more Mike Piazza rookie cards I get, I'm like, I wish he would have had a better career. A few more home runs would have been nice out of Mike Piazza. Those cards would be worth more money. But she's 5 years sober as of what, last week?
Yeah, the 5th of August.
Hell yeah,
congratulations.
Man.
Good for you.
Congratulations. But those aren't the fun stories being sober. Give me some of the moments where you're like, dude, this is insane.
Oh, what would be considered a traditional rock bottom? That's what you're asking for?
Yeah.
Maybe like the Tuesday that I wrecked an ex-husband's car drunk on absinthe in Terre Haute, Indiana when I was 22 years old, or the stint I did 4 days in Marion County Jail. I had a
because of that car.
What?
What's it like going to jail?
I mean, unfun.
What was your?
You definitely have to tighten your pussy up and really,
Really,
right,
they were.
God. I mean, because I ended up in Gen Pop. I was only in there because in my 15 years of gone girl level alcoholism, I was getting in trouble and, or wrecking cars or just doing whatever you would do with a detached hippocampus every day. But when I ended up in jail, it wasn't because of like anything like truly criminal. I had just been like, I had gotten a DUI in Terre Haute, and Judge Rader had, told me to do XYZ triple digit hours of community service. And I just felt like that was irrational or whatever. And, I was also drinking so much that I was irrational. I was not being a part of, society. And not only
I think we're losing you a little bit.
Okay, hold on. What about now?
Yeah, no, I think it's the
Can you hear me?
Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's the Wi-Fi. You're coming in spotty now, but it's all right. But you, Derek, you ever been to jail?
Yeah, I did one night.
What? Yeah, what was that?
Pinellas County, Florida. I was coming back.
It's always
from
a county. It's always
I know.
I was in county. That's why they put me in county.
Pinellas County, Florida. Coming back, it was in Clearwater, and I was coming back from a corporate gig, and I flew down. I was working in Columbus, and I got the night off to fly down to do this corporate gig in Clearwater Beach. Another comic, she was out of Lakeland, and I said, "Hey, you want to come and open for me? Come by, pick me up at the hotel in Tampa by the airport, and then we'll head over to Clearwater." Long story short, I didn't get a car because she was going to drive. Turns out she had like 4 DUIs already to her name.
Damn.
And so we ended up driving.
At least you had a good drinking buddy. That's a good drinking.
I know,
buddy.
right? So, but we get to we go do the gig, and everything's great. We drive, and the people from the group, they were super nice. They go, "Hey, let's go hang out. We're going to be at this bar." So I go there, and then she just disappears. And then all of a sudden she comes back about an hour later, and she is just cross-eyed. And she goes, "Oh, I can't drive." And I'm like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." So then I ended up driving her truck, and I had a few, but I didn't, I wasn't nearly as wrecked as she was. And so coming back over the Courtney Campbell Causeway, going from Clearwater to Tampa, got pulled over and did the field sobriety test. Everything seemed to go fine. And they said, "We're going to have you do a breathalyzer." I go, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Right.
And so I refused the breathalyzer test, got handcuffed, taken to Pinellas County Jail. And then, of course, they try to pull the, good cop, bad cop thing. One cop sit me down. He goes, "Hey, I know if you don't trust breathalyzers, we can do a blood draw." And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do a blood draw either."
That's a good call. If you know you're going to fail.
And I wasn't a dick about it, but I'm just not going to do that. And if you don't hand them the fingerprints on the gun, they can't prove anything.
You hear that, Carlos Danger? You're going to be in the clear. No breathalyzers. Like my buddy got in a car accident yesterday. He's fine. Yeah. Refuse a breathalyzer, allegedly. No, he's fine. He was.
This is back in 2004, so I mean, they may have made the rules and regulations even stronger. But I mean, I was I'm in a suit, and I show up to county lockup, and they take my belt, all that stuff. So it was, it's as Hannah says, it's unfun.
How long were you there for?
I was just in overnight,
and then they let you go. And what'd you end up getting? Did you have to deal with the DUI or? No,
it ended up getting knocked down to a reckless. I had a really good attorney, and she just said because I go, "How did my field sobriety test look?" Because I didn't want to look at the video. She goes, "You look great." She goes, "You're not falling, you're not stumbling, you weren't belligerent, no nothing." So it ended up.
How much the lawyer cost you?
The lawyer cost me $3,500.
That's better than my law.
That's 2004, but I mean, after everything else got all added up, it ended up being close to, I think, 10 grand.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was thinking when you said all of that, when you said reckless driving, I was smiling because I definitely should have had more than 2 DUIs if I think about the thousands of times I was drinking and driving.
Oh, yeah.
Back home in Indiana, especially, it was like, whatever. But the very first DUI I ever got, I blew 0.10 or 0.08 or whatever it was at that time, or a little bit higher. And because I had like no criminal history at all, I got reduced down with a lawyer to a reckless driving. So when I actually got my first DUI, that should have been my second one, but it was only my first one.
Right.
On paper, you know, as
Yeah,
far
yeah.
as that's concerned, because of a very similar situation that first time where I just like was overnight in a drunk tank.
Damn. Well, I'm sorry both of you had to go to jail. And Derek, did you quit drinking, or you're like, no, man?
I've been sober since midnight last night.
There you go. Because you always like that was one of the fun things, hanging out with you afterwards. We'd always throw a few cocktails back. Why not?
No,
Once
it's
a gig's
good.
over,
Listen,
yeah.
I mean, I have all the respect in the world for somebody who decides to hang it up and say, listen, I gotta get my stuff together. I gotta get healthy. I've got to get clean. And I got plenty of friends, and we all do in this business that have, that finally said, I'm done. I've punched enough tickets. I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah, I'm getting there one day, but I'm at the same time like I don't know how much longer I've got left, so why stop now? I don't plan on being here like crazy long, so it's like why not?
So you're not confident on your 2-year sobriety? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm only 3 days. 3 days.
3 days in?
Yeah, 3 days. I'm only doing it for a week. It's just 1 week.
Oh, okay.
Baby steps. It's only 1 week. Come on, Derek. Come on.
I got you. I don't know why I thought you. I don't know why I thought you said 2 years. So
No, 3 days. 3 days. It feels like 2 years.
It feels like 2 years.
It feels like 2 years. Feels like 2 long years.
I'll never forget the one time when I was this one story when I was in the jail, and the next morning, they're passing out. I'm sitting there, and amongst the masses, and the trustees come in and they bring in their food, which is like a bologna sandwich.
Right.
It was like a bologna sandwich, a plum, and a little thing of apple juice. So I felt like I was, in a juvenile facility. Eating
Yeah,
this
it sounds
food.
like elementary school or like an elderly home.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. All I needed was pudding, and it would have completely rounded out the senior center experience. But this guy comes up, and it's like a big area right down below, and then like all the cells were behind you. So we're sitting there, and this guy comes walking up to the podium, and the guy who's like the guard is just sitting there, and everybody that's in there is basically in for, it was a holding tank essentially.
Did you talk to anybody? Like, what's it like? That's what I'm more curious about. Was anyone talking to anyone?
I didn't. Yeah, some people were talking to people, but I just didn't feel like talking. I'm like, I got to get out. I just kept sitting there just staring at the TV going, I got to get the hell out of here. This is bullshit.
Oh, they have a TV on? Jail doesn't sound so bad. They put a TV on for you?
You can't even hear the audio.
But it's on. You got something to look at.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to watch Harry Potter with no audio on what looks like, the video quality of, whatever they got Watergate on. It wasn't great. Right?
Wait,
I don't know what kind of summer.
Did they have the audio on for you, Derek?
It was, I think they had it on like CNN, and it was just on really low.
So there was
So the audio was on, but no, Hannah's right. I mean, it's not on some 4K television. It was on like a surveillance quality television stuck up in the corner. Again, this is you're talking 19 years ago when this had when I went through this. But this guy comes up to the podium, and he's all pissed off, and he goes, he opens up his sandwich, and he goes, "This is not enough protein." I'm dying laughing because I'm sitting right near the podium. The guy goes, "This is not enough protein for a grown man to ingest." And I'm just looking at him, and the guard has his reading glasses on, and he's got him like hanging down. And so the guard looks at the guy, and he goes, "Well, it looks like we have a nutritionist amongst us." And I just walked over. I just handed the guy my sandwich. And he goes, "Thank you, good sir. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you."
There you go. You made a friend.
And I felt like, Andy Dufresne giving the guys booze when they were pouring tar on the roof at the jail. And the guard just looks at me and mouths, "Thank you."
Dude, I would suck in jail because I'd literally be going up to everyone like, "What are you in here for? What are you in here for? What are you like?"
No, you wouldn't.
No,
you wouldn't, Ray. The second person you asked that to, you'd get your literal ass whooped. They'd American History X you. You're not asking people what you're doing in there. Nobody in there is on that kind of flow, Ray. This isn't like, I don't know how they made it look on
I've never been to jail like that.
I'm an extrovert and a professional stand-up comic, and I was not talking to anyone the 4 days I was in there. I might have a quick conversation if I needed information or someone asked me a question because I am a person who wants to, not give you no reply. However, you really feel no social butterfly sorts of feelings, especially when you're in there. Maybe if I was in there and I was like, I knew I was doing 15 years, you can get settled into a rapport. That's home. But when I was in there for 4 days, that's a dicey situation where you're just like, hey, I hope no one touches me.
Right, right. All right. Again, I've never been in that situation. The one time I got in a car accident and I had a concussion, he assumed, because I had a part-time job delivering medications for a pharmacy, and there's some. So he said everything got dropped, but he said DUI, that I was on drugs, that I was stealing drugs from a pharmacy, trying to sell drugs. I'm out of it. I'm all whatever. I just woke up like in a cell, like no idea what happened, what's going on. I needed to go to the ER because they sent me as soon as I got out, my sister picked me up. We went to the ER and I was in the ER for a week. They didn't let me out. They kept running neurologist tests and everything. They kept like checking me out to see what the hell was going on with me. But so I had no idea, but I was the only person in that cell, and the guy was a dick. Like, I woke up and I'm like, what's going on? And like, why am I in handcuffs? Because I was generally confused. He's like, you want me to take them off? Because I take them off for fighting. I'd love to take them off. Just tell me to take them off. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I'm more like, no, seriously, why am I here?
It's
what
like
happened?
a fever dream. You know, you're waking up, you're disoriented, and jail is disorienting. It feels like, you know, you lose sense of like time and things like that. You know, they don't give you a picture window to gaze out of. You can't even wasn't there long enough to get commissary. Like, you can't get comfortable.
Yeah, it's like a Vegas casino without the slot machines.
Yeah.
No windows. There's a clock on the wall. You just watch the second hand just tick, 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 and it's like,
so no one's giving you drinks unless you get in good with somebody making room hooch or whatever.
yeah, you don't have any. You don't have conversation in there. I mean, I talk to the guard once in a while just to kind of find out when if bond got posted, when you get out, how that works. And I was just very quiet and respectful and didn't bother anybody. I'm like, go and sit back down and glance at the TV and just wait for the time to pass. But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. I just remember them calling my sisters and like letting her know like where I'm at. Like, it's like, your brother's on meth. And like, my brother does drugs. And she starts, it's like, they just make shit up. It's like, oh, literally, I lost so much money. And that lawyer's like, they don't arrest you for 4 things unless you did something. They don't arrest you for 4. You got to take something. I'm like, I wasn't. He's like, you got to take the D. I'm like, I wasn't on anything. And it all got thrown out because there was zero evidence. Like that. Apparently, they did do a breathalyzer and they did do a blood test. I don't even remember that. But everything came back. There was nothing wrong with me. But it was like, but it cost me like 10 grand. And I wasn't even.
It's always 10 racks. You're going to, no matter what, you're spending 10K. I don't care what is happening one way or the other.
Now, they were going to try to have me sit in front of a victim panel.
What's a victim panel?
A victim panel is where you sit there and all of a sudden, you're hanging out and you're just in front of these people on a stage, and you're sitting there and it's just you with a bunch of other DUI people that got popped, and the people on stage, lost their kid to a drunk driver.
Right.
And I never had to do this.
I did.
Oh, did you? Yeah, I was going to ask if you had to, but I'm like, I didn't do anything. I didn't hit anything. I didn't kill anybody. I didn't injure anybody. I ended up getting knocked down to reckless, but my attorney was saying this is what they could possibly ask for. And I go, I am not going to sit at this panel. I get drunk driving is bad. I know bad things can happen, but I'm like, don't throw me in that, in that situation there. I know it was a bad decision that I made. I get it. I own it, but I'm like, no. But you had to sit in front of that panel, Hannah?
Yeah, so that victim impact panel is run by MADD, which is MADD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So that's who puts on those, types of displays and conversations. I'm certain they go on in all of the different states as far as, just a tie-in to reckless and endangered driving. I think you can even kind of have to sit through those panels nowadays, I'm certain, for things like texting and driving, because that's like a new problem. Like 20 years ago, that's not something everyone was not going to be killed by texting and driving. That's a real ass thing now. So I'm sure there's even probably, some other victim impact panel for that kind of stuff. But yeah, I definitely remember kind of being like, I've always
What's
had a
some of the
dark,
stories? What did they say to you? What's the story you had to hear?
nothing that like stood out to me. If
You're
anything, I
like, you
probably,
gotta have a better story. I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say, if anything, I probably laughed. I've always had a dark sense of humor, and I just find
Yeah.
things like that where you're forcing someone into this sort of like,
Yeah.
you know what
Also,
I mean?
the mothers against
Shame. I'm
yeah,
like,
the mothers
"Easy."
against drunk driving. Like they make it sound like drunk driving happens at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a school day. It's like no, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Here in Vegas,
Like,
yes.
yeah, oh yeah, oh, in Vegas, yeah.
Here in Vegas, it's a different ball game. You can get a drunk driver. It doesn't matter where, when, how.
Well,
They
it's
just
like you said, they just left a place without time and space. They walk out of the
Well,
Tropicana
exactly. And then
and
you
they're
also
like,
have
where am I?
when you have all the
Dude.
shift workers too, people, casino dealers, people working in the hotels and all the
Yeah,
casinos, and they get off work at 6 a.m. and go have some cocktails. So they're going to be just as drunk coming out of the bar at 7 a.m. that anybody else would coming out of happy hour
It's
at
a
6 or 7
different
at night.
But I remember like I did the roulette wheel, and I had this strategy. I was like, here's the deal. You put 10, it's either black or red. You got a 48% chance of winning. So you put down $10, that's minimum bet on like black. And if you lose, who cares? Now you put $20 on black. You lose, who cares? Now you put 40 on black. Like the odds of losing like 6 rolls in a row is like 0.8%. Like pretty. The second you win, though, you got to walk away. You got to walk away. That's the thing. I literally did that. Black, and lost 6 in a row.
I know.
Oh, you heard this story? And I
no. I've
Oh.
lived that story. I don't need to hear the story. I've been there. That's why I look. I
was like, there's no way I'm going to lose again. And then it happened so quick. After I lost, I'm like, I'm done. I had no more money to like double down. And then I go, I'm waiting for my free drink. I'm waiting for my free drink. I just sat
waiting
there
for my $160 free drink.
Yeah. No, I lost like it was like 3. I think it was 10, 20, 40, 80, 160. So I lost all those. So like those are the ones I lost. So literally, yeah, it was like a $350. I was like, I'm waiting for my drink. I'm waiting, and I stood there like pissed. I'm like. I'm gonna read a couple super chats, and then I got something else to bring on about jail. I got some topics. Rappy Ray, thank you, man. A victim panel is also known as a Ray audience. Ouch! Ouch! Come on!
Nice.
Oh man!
Spicy.
Don't be funnier than me, man. Billy P, $5. Blue Jays 1, Guardian 0. Top of the second. Hack. Dude, I'm done with the Guardians like this year. Ray, look for another chick for you not to have sex with. Yes, thank you, Rappy Ray. Yeah. I get a thing because like I get a lot of women on my podcast, and they're all good looking. And yes, no, I do not hit on the women on my podcast. Derek, on the other hand, maybe
all day long. Hannah, give me a call, please.
Derek, I'll be in Vegas anytime you want. Let me know. If I can get some decent.
Perfect.
If I can get a night at the Strat, just a good feature rip, I'll come out there and soak sun. I've always had fun in Vegas over the years.
Vegas is awesome.
In my drinking days in Vegas, like I was having a moment when you were talking about this city, and I was like, "Oh, Hannah, remember that time you were at the Cosmopolitan?" And I got so blacked out like later that night, and I just must have appeared, young and hot. And so I got into a conversation with like some security there, and they thought I was like being a prostitute or a sex worker. And
I just assume you are.
But I was so blacked out, I felt like I seemed even more like I was, and I just remember like being near the like front desk of the Cosmopolitan and like crying, and just being like, You're punishing me because I'm hot. Like I don't need to have sex for money. I don't need to have sex for money.
Free. I'll have sex for free right now. Watch me finger myself.
Like high rollers that I knew from the casino. And the funny thing is, one of them was actually like a person who owned a car dealership back home in Indianapolis. And because of the fact that I said his name, they were able to like call him and make some like verifications, or otherwise I might have got kicked out of the casino, and my stuff was in my room, and it would have been a disaster. You know, just how things are when you're
Oh yeah.
My
young,
favorite-
drunk, and dumb, dude. And I just was like, that's so Vegas to me, where I just was just smiling like, oh, precious.
Derek, if you remember, like Comedy Zone had that room at the Plaza, and you
Yeah.
and that was the greatest. It's right there on Fremont Street, and I loved it. I always loved working that. It
Well,
was
that was also back in the
fantastic.
day before Fremont actually got cleaned up. I mean,
Oh, I
Fremont was-
love the Dirty Vegas. It was awesome.
and
I
it's
like
still, and
walk-
it's still. I mean, it got cleaned up, and now it's just, you know, a cleaner kind of dirty, if you will. I mean,
Oh,
you can
I loved
you
it.
can still get HPV through your shoes walking around on Fremont Street. So
Nice.
it's disgusting. It really is. The Plaza's
Uh,
actually gotten nicer. I mean, they've gone in there and made some renovations and so
I
forth.
thought it was nice.
shows- the
I thought it was
shows
nice before.
sucked.
I don't.
The shows sucked because it was in this big showroom. I don't know if you've been down there to the Plaza, Han, it was the old Sammy Davis showroom. It's the one that he opened up years ago.
Okay.
So it
Wow, I
holds
must
like,
have done a lot of shitty gigs.
How
I thought
many-
it was
oh my
good.
God, it
How
held
many
like
people? How many people could the Plaza hold? Like, what's that?
the theater there held like 500 or 600. It could have,
Okay.
but
mean,
they'd
that's
have
good
like
size.
30, 35. You know, and I mean, there was one I was working with a buddy of mine, and he's on stage, and his set is not going well, and all you can literally hear, somebody had an oxygen tank in the front, and all you could hear is, and I'm dying laughing in the back of the room. So it's me and the showroom manager just cracking up while my buddy is eating it on stage, and just hearing, you can hear the oxygen tank in the back of the room. It was so bad, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I loved coming down there just to come and work Vegas years and years ago. But yeah, as far as the gig itself, the gig sucked.
Yeah, I just remember liking everything about it. Now the shows might have been horrible, I don't know, but I just remember like being on Fremont Street. I go to the Golden Nugget right next door, and you could bet like the weirdest thing on sports. Like I bet on the Super Bowl. The Patriots were playing somebody, as they have done a lot of the time, and
Yes.
you could bet on everything. And I remember like betting on someone's rushing yards, like betting on like the over under the first quarter. I think they're playing the Eagles, and it was like the Eagles -3 at the end of the first quarter. I'm like,
Right.
well, anyone could be up 3-0. That can go either way. So I remember taking that.
Just taking prop bets.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I remember like I just took logical prop bets, and I won like all of them. The only one I lost was the over under on Tom Brady's rushing yards, and it was 0. So I took the over, thinking, well, he's
If he
going
runs
to.
for 1 yard, if he sneaks
Yeah.
for 1 yard, yeah, you win it.
I lost that because I did not know at the end of the game when you take a knee, that's -2 yards rushing. So it ended up with
man.
-1 yard rushing. I did not
Wow,
know.
I honestly did not know that. Like, that's in
Wow.
all of my sports fandom, that's the first
Yeah.
time I've ever been aware of that. And I'm just like, oh, because I'm not saying I've ever even had that be close or made
Yeah.
that prop bet myself. But as a person who every now and then smokes and just goes,
Yeah.
instead of being an alcoholic, I'm gonna make a parlay on my DraftKings. I'm known to do some weird little things like that. So I'm actually glad that you just randomly said
Yeah.
that. I did not know.
You think 3rd and inches, you just put the ball over the
-2
first down.
though? That's a real game changer. As far
Yeah.
as like
I had no idea, and
I
lost.
had no idea
Well,
either.
I don't read this super chat. Then I'm bringing up, speaking of jail, this dude in Dislabeled. This can only be up for a second. Ray, do you still think Jeff? I have no idea what Jeff Ross did. Like you said on the MLC 3 years ago, that was people on there talking about it. I only know Jeff Ross in good way. Thanks, by the way. Stevie Lou allegedly sells. And all right, we can get rid of that one. Thank you to Slabel for the $5, but I cannot comment on any of that. See, they're very nice. They're very, very friendly here. It's a one big group hug here at Rock Bottom Podcast. But Andy, if you don't mind, pull up that story about the dude. So his wife, he was estranged from his wife. So this lady was going to. She hired some guys to kill her husband. She hired some dudes to kill her husband. Her and the guy that she was having an affair with are hired, and they got caught on because they put everything on the WhatsApp app. You could scroll down. It just honestly, it's just me to show you that the story does exist. But there's a lady. You can go to the pictures of the. She was like, back down to the pictures. Yeah. There's her family, the kids' faces. No, back up. Just the pictures of the family or them. So
what's
that's
the story here.
So they're like, we're supposed to get a divorce or whatever. She cheated on her husband. And they were going to go down to the Bahamas where he was. And the guy she's cheating on him with, they hired a henchman to kill her husband. So the guy she's with, they hired him to go kill this guy. And so they were out in the Bahamas. And then she only got caught because she put it all on social media messages. So they followed it on social media messages. The guy's all right. The guy's fine. But then the guy went to jail. The guy went to court yesterday and bailed his wife out of jail. He's not pressing charges. How insane is that? You can get rid of that story. I just wanted to. What you guys think on that? Your ex, he forgives his ex-wife. I don't know the details, but he's cool with her being out of jail. He's not pressing charges, I guess. That's one forgiving dude. How would you guys feel?
Do they have kids?
Yeah, they have kids. That's probably why. If you saw those were their kids in the blurred out pictures.
Yeah, he had to go outside on the first day of school and make those gay signs that are like Piper's second grade, la la la. And then he was like, you know what? Actually, even though your mom and her lover tried to have me axed, I don't want to put y'all in a backpack another single day. And so I think sometimes men will make decisions like that.
That's insane.
Like, he might never forgive her, clearly, or have a trusting bone in his body, but something tells me they have just kind of like this like running knowledge or affection for each other. Or maybe, like we were talking, he just knows that jail is a cruel place for the mother of his children.
But she wanted him dead. She was planning on killing him.
Listen, think bigger picture, though. Maybe he's got his own plans.
Thank you. We don't.
He's like,
know,
I don't want you to rot in jail. I want to kill you myself.
Thank you. You just don't know. We just don't know what the long cons are.
I'd have been really, if I were her, I'd be really concerned that he bailed me out.
No doubt. That's even weirder to me. I guess,
Yeah.
you know what? Actually, and she's in there just with the exact mindset where she's like, I don't want to get those kids ready for school. I want to stay in jail.
So you think she wants to stay in jail? I just thought that was insane. I was like, there's no way, man. Someone tries to kill you, your ex, your spouse.
I think he's got.
They're still married. They're not even divorced.
Well,
I
that's
think he's
part
got his
of
own
it.
plans.
Yeah.
And according to the article, like while they're like getting let out of jail, the dude that she's cheating on her husband with, they're sitting next in court together, like they're still on good terms. They're still together. They went to fucking jail together, trying to kill her husband.
That's
and they're
a solid
still like
relationship, Ray. I don't know why you got to take a shit all over it.
Yeah.
Jesus, man. At least make him stay in jail. Let your wife go, but make that other dude stay in jail. You fucking release them both.
So the only reason she got caught.
We might find out later they had like a kinky sex triangle happening anyway, because it just feels like, like if I was that dude, even as me as a female, I've been a little unhinged before. Like I'd have everyone in that situation, potentially myself, also dead by the end of it. You wanted to come for me? I'm gonna put us all down. So it's like just the fact they're even making it into a court situation to be able to sit next to each other. This whole thing is a little out of my mindset.
What's the craziest ex you ever had? Either one of you guys, whoever. We'll go Hannah first, and then Derek. Craziest.
Oh, I was definitely the craziest ex.
Why? What did you do? What did you do?
Think about how much I was drinking. I was just out in shenanigans. Like I said, I took an ex-husband's car out one night drinking and drank absinthe and then wrecked it.
Oh, that's your husband? You were married before?
22 to 25. Yeah, that's the Indiana handshake.
Oh, all right. The Indiana handshake. Call this up for the Indiana handshake.
A marriage and divorce pre-25 is the old Indiana okie doke. So I just did what was, there, got out of it, haven't done it since.
Did he dump you or you dump him?
It felt mutual. It's just like a dissolution of, things.
Did the car accident? So were you guys already divorced? No, but were you guys actually divorced then, or were you guys still together?
No, together.
Okay. Was that like a deal breaker? Was that like a thing where it's like, I got to step away from this chick?
No.
No, he was still like, that's my girl. That's
Well, I don't, he was just in it. I just think there's people attached to alcoholism in all shapes and sizes. And it was in my early 20s. So it's like, I don't even think myself or anyone else could be aware of like what that alcohol was going to like, how it was going to take shape in me. Because, those were the first 5 years of that drinking of something that became 15 years long. So like, you can't see the gravity of it from that very start. But, so it's also just kind of like we're young. And in Indiana, everyone was hammered all the time. They still are. You two are still drinking. So the point is, it's like, it's a pervasive part of the culture. It's not just germane to small town situations. Alcoholism is a gene or things that we have proclivities towards. So it's like, these are the situations where like, it's hard to think about, but for sure, he was also not a person who drank much. So there had to be very
boring.
But there had to be pronounced, like differences.
Well, someone had to have their shit together. Lord knows it wasn't you. Someone had to buy the cars to crash. They're not going to buy themselves.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He had a great credit score. There was a lot of things.
I still have no idea what my credit score is. I have no idea, nor do I.
Mine is poor. Right, I know it's not good.
But I will say this, like Derek, some of those gigs we used to do, like in Michigan, the old Yoder gigs, I do remember doing at least one. Maybe it was like that Mount Pleasant gig where someone like was going to drive, but before they had to like get like find a sober person to blow into their car for it to start. Yeah, I've seen that a bunch of times, and there was like those one nighters where someone's like, hey, well, Eric, I'm waiting for Eric to get here so he can blow into my car so I can go home. Like, how about he just gives you a ride? How about he just gives you a ride home and you leave the car here tonight? He just comes, you go to the bar, just blow into your friend's steering wheel so he can start up. Is it starting? All right. I think they call that a Midwest give him a jump. Can you give my car a jump?
Yeah, it is. It's like siphoning gas.
Just blowing my wheel. There you go. Derek, your what crazy stories you got, man?
I was I was dating this crazy chick in Indiana who wrecked my car. Too easy.
There you go.
I miss you, sweetheart. No, it's I was dating a stripper when I was it was 20, I was 22, I think. I was a DJ at a strip club in Detroit.
Hell yeah.
Called the Booby Trap.
Yes.
Of course, the creative name.
On 8 Mile Road. Even
yes.
better.
8 Mile. Every time I go anywhere near
Mile.
Detroit, I got to take a picture next to the 8 Mile sign.
Oh, God, yeah. No, but it was a disaster. I mean, it was a I recommend any guy to go ahead and live that fantasy, but understand that, and I say this all the time, I go, dating a stripper is like being on a roller coaster. It's a fun ride, but at the end of it, something's falling out of your pocket.
So funny.
So but no, yeah, I'd rented a car for her one time through, remember Ugly Duckling Rental Car? Like they would rent like the most ghetto sketch cars. Like you go in there and, you could rent like today, it's 2023. You could rent now like a 2009 Tercel with like a green quarter panel and the rest of the car is blue. They didn't get, and they didn't give a shit. And so but you could get it for like nothing. Now it's 22.
I love that. I needed something like that. I'm like sitting here listening like, man, I really could have benefited from that. Even right now as a broke comic, sometimes I'm like, is there an Ugly Duckling rental that
car,
I can access in Chicago? Because I would drive a 1990 Tercel right now if they could get it started.
It would scare me because if something goes wrong with that car, they might assume it's you. It's like, no, this car was a piece of shit before I got it. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
She had wrecked it. She had wrecked it. I mean, not like, didn't total it, but she wrecked it enough to where it was like $600 in damage. And I was, 22 at the time, so I got no money.
For sure.
DJing at a strip club. I was working in radio at the time before I even started doing comedy.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was a disaster. And she just dropped off the thing at the rental car place, and the car was all jacked up. And the guy at the rental car place said, she drops off the keys and just said, bill him.
Wow. I would have done this. When she's dancing,
know, right?
When she's dancing, every time throws out money to her, I would get out of the DJ and be like, thank you, and put that in my fucking I'm like, thank you. And I would put
That's
that in
such a mic drop moment, though. Give that stripper some credit. Going in there and being like, bill him is the most. Even if I saw somebody do that today at a coffee shop, I'd be like, whoa, I'm gonna pay it forward and actually get their latte, because that's audacious, hysterical, and okay. Like, I'm laughing too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, listen, I can laugh at it now, but at the time when I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because it was like I said, I didn't have the money at the time, and then I had rented the car for her, and during the duration of her renting the car from, where I rented the car for her, she and I had a falling out.
Of course.
And that's when it all went sideways. So I ended up having to, I had to go to court. And, ended up, because I said, well, I can, pay you X amount per week or whatever, X amount per month. Yeah. And they're like, no, we want the money now. It's ugly duckling rental car. They want $600 so they can buy another ugly duckling rental car.
For sure. Right. I get it.
So they wanted their money now. And so I ended up having to go to court and got a, court mandated thing. And I got to bring in my pay stubs from the radio station that I was working at.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And then, they set up a thing where it was like $50 a month. So I'm like, listen, we could have done this without the court stuff.
We tried this already. Yeah. I told them this is what I can do. I've done that with like student loans in the past, where I'm like, hey, what are you going to do? Garnish 0 wages? Go ahead. Like,
yeah. I don't want Biden to forgive student loans. I think Biden should start forgiving debts that men have picked up from dating strippers. That needs to be in the bill also. That's got to be a little sidebar thing.
Yeah, well, if Trump wins again, that's a for sure possibility for you to pitch.
Absolutely.
Because he right away would be like, oh, personally, that would save me like 5 potential lawsuits. So
well, then I would go out of my way to only date strippers. I would only even if things go worse, I'm like, just get a job for a couple weeks at the strip club. You'll be helping me out a lot. I'll get a lot of debt forgiven. But yeah, I had the same thing with student loans, where they're like, I'm like, what can you pay us a month? I'm like, all right, I can pay you $100 and something a month. Like, well, that's not enough. So I'm like, well, then I give you nothing then. I don't know what you want me to say. Like, I can give you this. This is what I can give you. Do you want it? It's better than 0. And like, no, that's not enough. It's like, well, then fuck you. What do you want me to do? I can't make money magically appear and give you that. So I don't, I got one more story to get. I'm going to read a couple super chats. Blinky Jedi. Ray, get a foot shot. Does she have nice feet? He's talking to Derek. Some guy wants to see your feet, Derek.
No, he does not.
That's clearly for Derek. Rappy Ray. Ray, tell us about your craziest ex and how she definitely existed. All right. They're doubting I have girlfriends and I've ever had a girlfriend. Touche. You
had a girlfriend when we were working the road together.
Yeah, I've had girlfriends.
Ray's had girlfriends, okay?
Yeah, I've had girlfriends. Yeah, I've been the crazy one. Yeah.
I'll date Ray for a second so you leave Ray alone.
Yeah. I like when I first met Hannah.
Careful what you ask for, Hannah.
Yeah.
When I first met Hannah. Feature spot at Brad Garrett's. That's all I need. We'll date for a weekend. We'll get it annulled. I'm not going to get in a relationship on my social medias, but I will tell you that we can post a picture or something. Leave Ray alone. That's what I'm saying. Ray's fine.
Hashtag leave Ray alone.
Leave Ray alone. That is also hilarious. Like Michael Jackson had that song, "Leave Me Alone." About all the people giving. It's like, dude, you are having sex with children. What do you mean, leave me alone? Just leave me and these boys alone. It's like, no, dude. What do you mean, just leave me alone? It's like, no.
Hashtag Ray Strong. And on that though, my friend, I have got to take off here. I got to head to an appointment. But
okay, cool. Thanks for joining. Tell everyone where they can find you, buddy.
Dude, appreciate you. DerekRichards.com is my website. I'll be in Wyandotte, Michigan on August 18th, which is a Friday, over at the Comedy Room at Portofino, and then at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club in Vegas on Monday, August 21st.
Cool, awesome. But always good seeing you, man. You're good dude. Come back.
Good talking to you. Good talking to you. Nice to meet you.
You too.
I'll see you out here in Vegas, darling.
I'll definitely let you know when I'm coming out.
Sounds good. Have a good one, you guys.
All right, peace there.
See you.
I'm going to go for a little bit longer. You're welcome to hang. If you got to roll, that's fine.
I'm good. Okay. I'm over here on the farm. I'll talk to you for a bit.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do another 25 minutes. Ray and Tracy Jane's undiscovered passion. Tracy played a stripper. Date her, Ray. Yeah, I heard her on MLC saying that she would go on a date with me. I don't. Tracy's my buddy. I don't. How do you feel about that, Hannah? Like, you're a lovely lady, but you're my friend. I
Okay.
don't. I don't like to cross those. I don't know. Or have you ever dated someone you're already good friends with?
For sure.
Oh, you have. All right. Are you single now?
I'm single now.
All right. Are you still cool with the people that you were friends with when you started dating?
It feels like on my end, I definitely am. On their end, it feels a little different. I feel like several of my exes don't follow me on social media, and I think that they have me blocked even. So I feel like there's no love lost with me and any of my former stable, but that I don't necessarily
I like
have.
how you call it a stable.
It is, but I don't necessarily have those humans paying me any much mind nowadays. Although, these are Indiana exes. At some point, even if I slow burn my career, I should be Indiana famous in the next 10 years. So it's like these humans know they'll never not hear about me. I think they've just chosen to carve out space and boundaries for themselves on the World Wide Web.
Yeah. Any of them comics or no?
None.
Oh, okay.
I got into stand-up a little later, as you know. So it's like I'm, about to turn 40. So I was like 33, 34 years old when I finally started. And so I just kind of was already at that point, I'd done plenty of dating. I've been married and divorced, like we talked about,
Crashed a couple cars. I've done that
crashing
too.
cars. And, 15 years of problem drinking is like, I was very codependent. So I always needed a hypothetical babysitter or a person, like I said, to just like bottle feed me, so to speak, booze, and make sure I had a safe place to like be with later. And I like companionship, but now that I've kind of sobered up and started doing our job, I'm like more contentedly single than ever.
Right. And I know you have an OnlyFans. How's that going? How's that work out? I think it's
To be honest, I'm giving it no attention. I just say
Okay.
that for the like maybe 5 dudes that'll see this and be like, I want to get on there. You totally can.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't find some imagery to like, achieve whatever your end
You want
goals
to see
are.
her feet? That's where you go.
For sure. And there definitely, you can see that kind of stuff on there. I just like, it was something that I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I only started it up really just to kind of test the market on it, see if it was something that felt, sustainable for me to not only just like post something on it, but also just like within my own personal brand. And I just kind of kept it on because like I don't do it for free. It's $9.11 a month still, which is the funniest thing that I do.
Oh,
And,
so you like 9/11. You like bringing up 9/11.
Yeah,
Like
it happened my senior year of high school. I was walking into
okay.
physics when it happened. So it's like, it's a part of my unfortunate memory bank. And because of that, and the fact that, I don't know, we just brought the boys home from Afghanistan like a year ago, we're just 9/11 is going to reign supreme for me on just like, it's always something that makes me laugh. Like, even when I look at the clock, if it says 9/11, I always like smile to myself, like, and it's not even like I think it's funny in the way of the loss of life. It was tremendously tragic, but it's just,
Well, it's weird to me is like 9/11, like to me now symbolizes like, because it's that time of the year where it's like it literally just ends like summer to me. Like summer's over. It's like season now. It's fall. Like it's really the exact date where you can be like, okay, we're in fall now. Like summer.
The way that you're looking at that at 9/11 and the changing of seasons is so hysterical to
It's
me.
like it's a changing of the season. And now it's fall. Everything pre 9/11, it's summer, good times. I was like, all right, now let's focus.
You go outside and you're like, man, I need a little jacket. It feels kind of that. Feels a little 9/11 out here, the changing of the guards.
Yeah, some people could say it was Labor Day, but Labor Day is still nice outside. I think 9/11 is all the leaves are gone now. Like all the leaves are like pretty much brown by now. Like Labor Day, it's still kind of summer. August was just a couple days ago, but 9/11 is like you're getting close to mid-September, and it's like, all right, we're start pumpkin coffee now. Pumpkin coffee for a while. It starts on 9/11. Sure. 9/11 starts it all. It starts the change of the season. It's 9/11 and it changes.
Well, maybe you should send something into the government or wherever you put those, like, not complaints, but like wherever the like suggestion box is for you know, like we're saying, government offices and be like, I petition, I got a signature for people thinking that the first day of fall should actually be changed to 9/11. That's
It
basically
should
what
be.
you're saying.
Does it
Like,
not make
first,
sense to you?
I'm
Like, it's
right. I'm
essentially
gonna have to think
Native
about it a
American
little more.
summer up until then. So it's Native American summer up until 9/10, and then 9/11. It's like it's fall now. It's autumn.
Yeah, but Indian summer can hypothetically extend all the way into October.
I'm not. All right, you're ruining my theory.
Well,
You're
right.
shooting
All
holes
theories,
in it.
all theories need to have some holes poked in them. Otherwise, they're just conspiracy, nonsense swirling in us. It's good for you to continue to develop and refine your theory on fall beginning in 9/11. I'm not anti it. I just want you to go from this podcast today. Keep thinking about it. I'll also think about it. And then,
Yeah.
later, if there's more towards a gainful end and I need to sign a signature, I potentially would for you, Ray.
Yeah. I got one more story to get into, and we'll go into that. But I'm going to read these super chats before we get into it. Reslinsky, rented LA Ugly Duckling 92, no power steering.
Incredible.
Yeah. Dr. Child, the Mega G, member for 1 month. Thanks, buddy. Send Spider Alamar the link. I can't wait for the beautiful Hannah to start a relationship with the great man we call Spider. So you got someone that I guess is into you. Ray and Tracy Chain's undiscovered passion. See, Ray, she said dating Tracy is a great idea. There it is. We're now an item. Me and Tracy, just like that. Rappy Ray. Ray, she's single and willing to stick around for another 20 minutes. She's the one. They're saying it's you and me. All right, you saw this whole thing about Lizzo, right? The whole like her dancers are suing her. And if you want to. You can go to the second article because the first article, like pretty much, again, I'm just putting up the article so people know the story. But yeah, her backup dancers. This is the second story that I wanted to get into. So Lizzo, for those who don't know her, by the way, I like Lizzo's music, and I only know Lizzo's music because like everyone was like, "Oh, look at her, she's in these crazy outfits, whatever." Like that's what she's like oversexualized, and then like, all right, let me at least listen to her music. Blah blah blah, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually good." I like Truth Hurts. I like.
Oh, it's catchy music. I'd be lying if I was like, "Oh, I don't know some of the songs," because like even they were playing everywhere in pop culture.
They're good songs. I run to them. I like them. So, anyways, so she got sued by her backup dancers for saying like she has plus size models that dance. Saying that she had like a strict diet thing, which is weird because you want plus size women, but at the same time, you're like also you want plus size women. At the same time, you're like kind of upset that they're like, it's a weird, like, where do you draw the line? Like, okay, you can be fat, but not too fat. What you do? But this lady, then she would take them to strip clubs, let people do whatever to them or whatever. So like a lot of things. So they all sued her. But this lady is a disabled dancer. I didn't know there was such a market for disabled dancers. This lady points out like now she's saying these plus size dancers, you can get rid of the story now. I just want to say it. I don't know why, just to prove that the story did exist. But now this lady, all these dancers can't find work now because so it's like, yeah, there's not that much game in town for out of shape, fat women backup dancers. You make it sound like it's working at McDonald's and there's another McDonald's in the next town. Like there's only one Lizzo. There's not a lot of plus size women that need plus size backup dancers. So now they're saying this is unfair to these women because there's nowhere else for them to go dance. And it's like, so it's like, all right, well then, what do you do? Then why? I don't know. It's weird.
But at the same time, their job would not exist without Lizzo.
Exactly.
Okay, I mean, and I don't mean that like that there's not a market for them to dance. There's other venues that they could explore, other performers, etc., who have maybe some sort of like broader scope of body inclusivity as far as size, modeling campaigns, etc. I just see all the different ways that, body and what is on screen and on print has shifted since, even the 40 years that I've been alive. And, you know,
Which
others.
I do fight back on that a little bit, which I mean, I don't care. People can look how they want to do. But what it does do is it does make it weird saying like, oh, big is beautiful, but which is fine. But then it also gives people like it's also not healthy. It's also gives that's like me just sitting here doing 27 shots and being like, what? I'm beautiful, accept me for me. Like, yeah. And so like it's like, don't shame him for being an alcoholic. Don't shame him for being an addict. He can be who he wants. It's like, no, that's not healthy. So in a weird way, glorifying it is also not healthy, if that makes sense. So like it's a weird thing. But these women kind of painted that. By the way, if Lizzo did all the stuff she allegedly was said to do, then yeah, it's horrible. She's a horrible person. I get it. But at the same time, like you complained about the only game you had in town. That's like being an NFL player bitching about the NFL. It's like, guess what? There's not another NFL. So
I know. And Ray, I'm just at the place where, you know, like, let's talk about just me even being tucked away in Indiana, acting like a Looney Tune, you know, that 15 years drinking. But there's just like a lot of stuff I said and did, like I said, with, you know, just a lot of mindlessness happening.
Right. I still do that. I'm still in that 15 years of mindlessness. And I'm still
like,
saying,
I mean, I've smacked exes before, like things I'm not proud of, you know, like stuff that's like I'm not glamorizing in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, I've even had those like moments of clarity early where I'm like, oh, any levels of fame I'll ever achieve will be met. I'm like, where I'm just like, some people could potentially come out at any point and have some unsavory things to say about me. And as you're aware, like when they're presented the way the media does, in these just skewed sentences and these like slanted feelings, you're just kind of like, well, yeah, like you were saying, if all of that is for sure true, but even I can read things and be like, hey, at any point in all of that, even if Lizzo was dictating it, you could have said no.
Right.
So like at some point, you know, these are those things too, where we also have to be like, hey, let's call a spade, you know, and it feels like a lot of times in Hollywood anymore, or at least in entertainment, like we're in, it's like people just are really happy and fine to be in whatever is serving or paying them at the time. And then really come out and say some things after that seem completely opposite to whatever happened. And I'm not saying that for good or bad. I'm simply saying, you know, some things people feel very pressured in the moments not to talk, and then it takes time for them to be revealed. However, some of this feels just like a lot of humans, you know, splitting metaphorical hairs and wanting to like slap the hand that also feeds them bananas. You know, it's like, hey, I'm an adult at any point, even plus size or not. If I was just hanging out with Lizzo and that was like offered up to me, I can either participate as an adult or sit it out regardless of the consequences. And I would already do that as a nobody, so to speak. You know, so it's like I just like sometimes look at this also and I have an interesting feeling because I just like know that I wouldn't do that. So it's like hard for me to like, I have empathy. Yeah. But I know a lot of this is like also not the full truth. We're never going to get the full truth. It's like when we even get into conspiracies and certain things, we're just getting a lot of like slivers.
Yeah, but I think they painted themselves in a corner by like, this is like, all right, well, there's not a lot of places for you fat ladies to dance. Like, you want to be a fat backup dancer, it's kind of the only market. Well, is right also, there. It's really only market.
More than that, even like think about like if we're the people that like we would need dancers of any size. Okay. And let's say I was like out like Taylor Swift, like, okay, I'm going to bring in a crew or whatever. I'm for sure not bringing anyone in that has had any kind of lawsuits before, you know, with just their former employers one way or the other. I don't want that drama. So it's like beyond your talent and the fact that now you are already in a tiny little pool. I don't even care about the stuff that happened with Lizzo, more just your reaction to how you slandered a person that like we said, even if we find out later, and we may, that Lizzo was an absolute trash sack. You know,
well, it sounds like, yeah, where, you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. So
for sure.
I mean, there are obviously some of whatever it is that's true. Who knows?
But they were fire dancing. So that's where I'm at. You know, these weren't children that were like kidnapped and held against their will under like a house, you know, in a cinder block room. Like, these are consenting grown adults who
Right.
had multiple points of trauma
Right.
inflicted on them and still stayed.
Yeah. No, I hear it. All of them did it. Like they were all, you know. But how can you fight back? She's a big
I
girl.
guess,
You can't really fight back. She's
I
bigger than
know,
you.
and money is money. It's like I'm even laughing thinking about you and I, where there'd just be like certain comics, if they asked us to go out right now and like feature for them on a global stage, that I would somewhat let verbally berate me or twist me up into feelings of Stockholm syndrome just for the money and the followers and the whatever, the stage time, you know. So like, I'm not even mad at them either.
Yeah.
I'm just more, the whole situation is so
The only scenario of
weird.
that happened in our, like, when Pang Dang, who I've met, I have nothing against the guy. I met him in New York, did some
Oh
shows
no,
and he was
Pang
awesome.
Bang.
But what he did with Tony Hinchcliffe, like he was Tony Hinchcliffe's opener, and then he filmed. Everyone knows, like he filmed Tony.
Oh,
Hinchcliffe,
he's the one that did the thing.
did the thing, and then like it's like, can you like that? I just don't care for. It's like, no, that's an in-house thing. If you have a problem, say something to Tony. You
I
just
get it.
took
I
it
get it.
and
But
put
that's
it
that
online.
same.
What the hell are you doing, dude? Like it was, and he like somehow got rewarded for doing that, and it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like that's the guy's act. That's like working with Jesselnick, and he says a dark joke and be like, I'm offended that he said. It's like, what are you doing, dude? That's
I know.
that's the guy's act. Like, how
But
are
that's
you?
what we're. That's
Where
what
do you
we're
draw
talking
the
about.
line there? What are you doing? And as a comic, you gotta agree. Like that's like insane. Just say something to him off stage.
I
don't.
know.
What would you feel if I filmed your set and just put it online and be like, this is what she said? Like you'd be fucking livid with me.
Oh, if anyone
You'd
did
be
that,
like, what
even
the
like
fuck are you
fans,
doing?
some of my stuff without context or even with context is
Yeah.
bonkers.
It just sounds horrible. You can take any comic's act, and it's going to
I
sound
know.
horrible. Turns out mine in context is also horrible, but that's not the point here. That's not the point I'm making. Even if it is in context, it sounds horrible. That's not the point I'm making.
Well,
Carlos,
right, but think about this point though. The point is though, I think on this whole Lizzo debate is like, even you talking about her music, the work that she's done.
yeah, what if this was all just a work to get people to talk about her music? Like this was all to promote a new Lizzo album.
So I mean,
and it's called "Still Fat, Still Dancing."
Brilliant. It'll sell out faster than the other ones did. It'll move triple the copies. But that's what I mean. I'm like, even if this tarnishes Lizzo's reputation, as we've seen with people like Kanye, Michael Jackson, etc., if you put banger songs into the canon, there's nothing that really.
Yeah, people still listen to R. Kelly.
For sure. It's like, sorry, but if
I believe I can fly.
I know.
I believe I can touch the sky.
So like, she's still going to get royalty money forever. So the point is, it's like, hey, and she's not done making stuff. She's going to come out as a human and one way or the other, be very apologetic as you need to be. And, you know, hopefully just find some backup dancers who signed an NDA and are actually just like a little bit more loyal and down to clown. You know, that's like, it even makes me like aware of, as like with us in comedy, where it's like just the importance of the people you have around you. Like, even if my feature was unknowingly taping me with, like we said, anything, I'd be like, dude, I'd be like, we're not working together anymore. Like, stop that, you know?
Yeah, like, what are you filming? Carlos Danger wants to know. See, Carlos is all right. He's here. Ray, what's the worst thing you did or said to an ex? Off the top of my head, I'm sure there's other things, but I did have this once. A girl once broke up with me. She was appalled. This is while I was doing comedy. I think I was like in Lexington, Kentucky. She was from Lexington, Kentucky, and I'm at her place. And I rented the movie Better Off Dead, the John Cusack movie. Not even think it's a great movie. It's a great movie. John Cusack's Better Off Dead. And that whole movie is about how his girlfriend breaks up with him. So he spends a whole movie like trying to kill himself, and it like never works out. It turns out it all works out. He gets the hot French chick at the end, a different girl.
Oh, I was like, it all works out. He kills himself. I was like, that is the coolest movie I've ever heard.
Yeah. But it's a hilarious movie, and it's like kind of dark comedy. And she literally started crying like when the movie was over, and she's like, I can't believe you actually think someone committing suicide is funny. This is, and like we broke up over that. And I was like, all right, this was not. It's like, really? I think she wanted to break up with me, but to use that is like I can't believe you think people. I've known people that killed them, and this is not. It's like it never even occurred to me. That just took me out of the blue. It's like, wow, all right, I guess this is that's just weird, right?
I mean, yeah, everyone is just
And that's a great movie, Better Off Dead. It makes me want to watch it again.
No, I'm for sure watching it. I've never seen it for some reason, but I like Cusack and I make suicide jokes every set. So it's like, you know, sorry. But like I told everyone on stage the other day, hang in there. Just don't hang in there. And even if you do, I won't know. So follow me and try your best. Try your best.
Ray's #1 fan says, death to the West and to long summer evening. Oh, 9/11. See how quick they are with the changing the avatars? Phrase #1. Death to the West and to long summer evening. Take these towers and bring them to fall. Praise be. Ouch. All right. Dang, that's hilarious. That's
inshallah.
Hilarious. Yeah. But yes, I think I gave 9/11 a new light. All right, I'm gonna get ready to wrap. You were fucking awesome. Thanks for doing this.
I appreciate you having me again.
All right, and go ahead, plug all your stuff. Where can people find you?
I'm on all the socials at Hander Pump Rules. Hander, HANDER Pump Rules. I have the album Asian American Psycho dropping October 31st of this year, and otherwise, yeah, I'll just be out there, out and about.
So you had an album before this? This is your second album?
No, first one. My
first one.
Mm-hmm.
Because another thing that, like you were saying, listen to all the old stuff. Here's the deal. Ever since that lawsuit happened, all the stuff I did on other albums are like no longer in the Sirius XM library. So like that stuff's just dead.
Can you resubmit it?
That's what I'm saying. I can like like whatever jokes. I mean, a lot of them are never going to be timely again. You know what I mean? None of them are going to be timely. And some of them never will be. But the ones that can still be done, I might redo them. You know what I mean? Like pick out what I can use and try to get them back in an act and do another album at the end of the.
I think that's really smart. I mean, there's nothing. I mean, that's a way to just like get right back in there with them again, and you already kind of like you said, you can tighten them up even more or alter them now and maybe like these tiny ways to get them up to speed in today's current, economy, wherever it is that you're bringing them in.
Yeah. So looking forward to it, but everyone follow Hannah. She's hilarious. And, when's the next time you're in New York? You still doing it back?
Mid-month. So on the 16th of this month, I'll be making my Comedians You Should Know debut. I'll be at the Stand the next night, the 17th on Sugar Babies. And then on the 20th, I'm at Union Hall on a show called Good God.
Awesome. Well, always cool hanging with you. And I'm sorry when I first met you, I thought you were a lesbian just because I did your show and it was in the progressive coffee shop and it was all women with like good haircuts. So I just assumed. I go, Hannah, and you're like, what? I'm not. I was like, oh, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that.
For sure. I definitely have bisexual energy. I think, probably just a matter of time before I'm completely disenfranchised with men.
Me too. I'm the same way. Pretty soon. I'm getting ready to break. I don't know when, but dude, you were awesome. Thanks for hanging. Love all you guys out there. Thanks everyone for hanging out. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye, Ray.